your commentary.
No, the Sri Lankan Tamil issue is very dear to me, and I have taken up, when the LTT signed the peace agreement with Sri Lankan government in 2002 in February, and I visited Sri Lanka and the Tamil areas in 2003, somewhere in early 2003. And when I visited the northern part of Sri Lanka, it is all completely Tamil areas under the control of LTT. And over a period of time, I had developed a close working relationship. I was advising them on many aspects. And then also in 2003, I was appointed in a committee that was set up. They call it the Constitutional Affairs Committee, where we were entrusted to come up with interim administration formula for the Tamil areas, and I was also involved in it, and we came up with a plan. But then the President Chandrika Kumartunga actually shelved the plan and she didn't want to talk about it. Then I think as things moved, they were not moving towards peace, they were moving towards another war. And I think the Tamils have suffered tremendously in Sri Lanka. And what happened in 2009 was the most tragic thing that happened. Over 1,000 Tamils innocent Tamils were actually massacred. They were bombed, hospitals were bombed, Red Cross centers were bombed, and the LTT was defeated. They say Prabhakaran died in the war. Some senior leaders also died in the war. Some disappeared, we don't know whether they are alive or not. Some were captured, the LTT, some were captured and they had to, some were captured and then they were probably killed. Some were captured and they were rehabilitated. And many women, cadres also rehabilitated. And the worst part of the war was where they used rape as a victim. Hundreds of Tamil women were raped by the Sinhalese soldiers. And the famous case has been the case of a broadcast journalist, Isa Priya, was probably raped and shot. She was not actually a LTT soldier or anything like that. So I think, and I think it affected the Tamils all globally. It's a kind of a Tamil solidarity, Tamil consciousness. And I have taken up the case of Sri Lanka at a number of levels. And in 2010, I spoke in rallies in India. And subsequently, I was banned from going into India. I'm still a persona non grata. I cannot go into India. I cannot go to Sri Lanka. That's fine. That's a decision they want to take. That's fine with me. The Tamils want justice. That's why there is an international move to ensure accountability on the part of Sri Lankan government to account for this gross violation of human rights. There are no parallels in the 21st century. That was that horrendous thing that happened. And in fact, I might be going to UK end of this month to look at also to present a paper on genocide, more specifically on structural genocide. They don't, this time when you're talking about structural genocide, you're not killing people, you're going grabbing land. You're putting Buddhist temples on Hindu, where Hindu temples were, where basically you want to decimate a race. not physically, culturally, geographically, because the northeast is basically Tamil areas. And I still believe, I think the answer, Tamil should have an independent state called Tamilam. And of course you can say it's easier said than done. But then what is the alternative? I don't think it's impossible for the two communities to live together. So I think it's going to be a long struggle for them ahead. And something that I think, as far as the Malaysian government is concerned, they talk about the Palestinians. They're also a lip service. They talk about the Muslims, but for political reasons. They don't care about what happened to the Tamils, and some of our Indian leaders don't even talk about these things. But I've been taking a very consistent stand on this. I mean, I can be in government, but still I believe that we have to take up their cause of the Tamils who have lost their lives, of Tamils who have been raped, of Tamils who have been ejected from their lands. So I think you don't expect from the Barisan linked parties they are a bunch of cowards And to me, I have taken a very strong stand. I have been, of course, some people feel that I should not have taken. Even the Indian High Commissioner has made complaints against me, all these things. I felt the reason why I was banned from India is because they felt that I criticized the Indian government. I stand by my statement. I think India should not have abetted and condoned what happened in Sri Lanka in 2009. Of course, the Indian troops were not there, but then they supplied them, logistical support. They gave them arms, surveillance, and later Mahinda Rajapaksa himself said, without India, we could not have defeated the LTTE. Is this the role of a big power? So, I think it's very sad that what happened.
There are many more people still in the camps.
Yeah, I think the camps are, I think, I don't think there are many more people in the camps, according to some reports. There might be some. But then, the lands have been possessed. Their lands have been taken over. The ancestral lands have been taken over. This is what I call it structural genocide. I mean, they are fishermen. They can't operate in certain areas. This is your traditional livelihood. Vani is a famous agricultural land for the Tamils. Now the army has grabbed some prized lands. They move army camps in a way to dispossess the Tamil of their lands. I mean, for a community, especially for ancient community, the Tamils, who have been there longer than even the Sinhalese, according to historical records, their link to the land is so intense. Land means so many things for them. And today, they don't even have their lands. They're taken over by the Sinhalese establishments.